Hello and welcome to Baltimore Pioneers, discussion with compelling thinkers and doers in Baltimore. I'm Xavier Plater. Thanks for tuning in to the student-produced show. Our guest in this episode is Gus Sentementes, a resident of the original Northwood community who spent 12 years working at the Baltimore Sun as a reporter. He is currently guiding social media strategies at Johns Hopkins University and was awarded the 2015 Baltimore Social Innovator for his use of live streaming to engage audiences. How are you today, Mr. Gus? It's a pleasure of having you.
Yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Most definitely. So, what got you into technology?
So I started covering, when I was a reporter at the Baltimore Sun, I was interested, this was over 10 years ago, I was interested in using technology to engage audiences. I was trying to do a lot of engaging within the Baltimore community. I was trying to listen to what people were saying and talking about in the community. And then I wanted to apply that back into my writing and reporting as a journalist. And it sort of became this really good symbiotic relationship. And then as I covered different types of stories at the Baltimore Sun, I ended up developing an interest in technology and wanted to cover the Baltimore tech scene. And so I shifted from covering crime to covering technology, and then I learned a lot about social media, and I was able to really dive in deep into how to use technology to reach large audiences. And I've been on that sort of learning curve ever since, and just trying to teach myself to learn and how to reach out and to broadcast the topics and ideas that I believe people should know about, but also use it as listening tools to really for my own self to grow professionally and as a person. Wow,
that's amazing. So you speak about the Baltimore Sun. What accomplishments have you made while being in it?
While being a reporter, sure, yeah. I covered business, the Baltimore business scene for many years. I also wrote about the Maryland prison system, and then I also I covered crime in Baltimore, became really intimately familiar with the problems facing our city neighborhoods and our city police department, and like I said, I covered technology. I wrote all sorts of stories about, did investigations. And, one of the ways that I was able to use technology when I was covering crime was, this was, 10 years ago. So you were like 7, 8 years old, right?
Yeah,
So I was working with other people, at the Sun, and we were the first. We created what today is called the homicide map for the Sun, and it's on the website, and it's a useful tool, and it's highly debated, and the community constantly refers to it as a gauge for what is happening in our communities, as an indicator. And so this was something that that I worked with a couple of other people at the Sun to put online 10 years ago, and so it's that I was really early on in that phase of when mapping became a thing on the internet. I mean, this. With Google Maps and all that. Right. So that was back then, yeah.
So what were some of the challenges that you faced in doing that project?
So the big challenge was, on the technical side, it was, kind of being able to adjust and adapt our processes, our internal processes to create data that we could then convert into a format that we can then post online. And so we needed to have good quality data, and a lot of this stuff we were creating ourselves with the help of the Baltimore Police Department. And so we were, so that was a big challenge, was, getting the data in good shape, and not just getting homicide data, but other types of crime data. But also getting finding the technical skills, finding the people who actually in our organization at the time who knew how to build this type of thing, because it wasn't really common, right? And now it's really easy to go out and sort of build these types of tools on the web to engage, the online audiences. But back then, it was still a very new skill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So what excites you to engage audience into social media towards Johns Hopkins University?
So one of the cool things about working at Johns Hopkins is that it's a preeminent world institution. It's got great students, over 150,000 alumni. Its reputation reaches around the world, and so one of the ways that we try to expand the reach of Johns Hopkins is through social media. And so we are constantly sharing stories about the scientific research that's accomplished at Hopkins, other types of research. We're sharing stories of our successful alumni. We're sharing stories of our successful students. We're sharing stories about Baltimore because a lot of people are really interested in Baltimore. I think, we're trying to highlight what a cool city Baltimore is and can be, and all the promise that it holds. So, there's a lot of really awesome storytelling that we try to do at many different levels. So, and it's really just a really phenomenal way to reach people around the world through social media to talk about things that people in Baltimore are doing.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I do honestly believe that there is a lot of stories that hasn't been told that needs to be told, and social media, as in live streaming,
Yep.
can help with that.
Yep.
All right. We're going to take a quick break from our conversation with Gus Sentementes. We'll be right back.
Modernizing school buildings for Baltimore City students has begun, like right here at Arundel Elementary School.
Amazing new spaces to learn in.
Yes, through this program, schools and communities are being brought together in a brand new way.
And I'm so proud to be part of this effort.
That's right. Construction jobs are open and internships are available. Discover more about the program at www.baltimore21stcenturyschools.org.
Building a brighter future together.
A lot of exciting things are happening each and every day in Baltimore City Public Schools. Our students are learning, excelling, growing, and achieving as they prepare for college and careers. You can see our students in action and the work they're producing right here on Education Channel 77 and online. If you'd like to watch more stories on the exciting things our students are doing in Baltimore City Public Schools, please visit www.vimeo.com/cityschools.
Thanks for watching Education Channel 77.
Welcome back to Baltimore Pioneers. I'm Xavier Plater here with Gus Sentementes, Audience Engagement Manager for Johns Hopkins University and passionate resident of Baltimore. So, Mr. Gus, please tell me what interests you into being a part of live streaming?
So I've been experimenting with live streaming for over 10 years, actually. So I first started off playing, really doing stuff with a website called Ustream.tv, which is actually still around. It's a popular destination for hosting live streams. And as I got into in recent years, as I saw the iPhone really develop as a powerful little supercomputer in your pocket, I started to daydream of a time when I would be able to live stream from my smartphone, right? Wow. And so, sure enough, in the last really 2 years or so, there's been this coalescence of three things, a powerful smart computing device, mobile broadband, fast internet speed, and mobile apps, right? So with those three things together, we've suddenly been able to live stream pretty much from anywhere in the world. And so you can go live from your pocket. And this is a really, even though you're sort of seeing this happening all the time now, this is a really new phenomenon. Like I was, daydreaming about this 10 years ago, right? So, so having this combination of factors kind of coalesce, it means that now you can, instead of having to buy, tens of thousands of dollars of hardware, cameras, and hardware and software, and cables and all that, you can go live with just a couple $100, the cost of an iPhone. And then you can actually start to do a more robust production with multiple iPhones together, which is some of the software that I use now. Is I actually don't have big cameras. I just use like 3 or 4 iPhones networked together. So it's a really phenomenal, it's just, it follows the overarching trend of technology, which is that as, processing power, continues to rise, everything starts to get cheaper, and these devices get cheaper, the software becomes more powerful, and so it's just it's sort of an intoxicating thing to be able to say like, hey, I just went live, and I brought it to 500 people or 1,000 people who would have never had the opportunity to watch something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's phenomenal how it just all comes from just you just daydreaming, and now to you being in a production matters this. So tell me, what do you believe? What are some benefits do you think residents have of live streaming?
Well, I think what I've noticed is I've had this sort of theory or this thesis where I have this theory that I think a lot of residents would really care about what's happening in their communities, and they want to know more, but a lot of people are busy working. They work full time, and a lot of them have children or grandchildren, and a lot of times a lot of the events in our communities where the community meetings, the neighborhood association meetings, a lot of those events, these large groups of people can't attend them because they're busy raising a family, they're busy working. And so my sort of theory a couple of years ago was, hey, if live streaming is so cheap and it's so easy to kind of go in, maybe we can, as community members, we can go in and just start live streaming, these events that are really important. And I've done it several times in my own community where I live, and people have been really grateful for it. And I realize this because I'm one of those people where I'm a working parent with 3 kids, and my wife and I are very often too busy to go to these meetings in the community. Mm-hmm. Once I started live streaming, everybody was just like, "Thank you so much, Gus, for putting this out there. I couldn't make it because my kid was sick, but I watched online, and it kept." So I think there's a real sweet spot out there to help inform the community, because the real problem is our media is under challenge, right? The newspapers cover our communities less and less. The newspaper gets smaller and smaller. The television news, it only covers if it bleeds, it leads. Like it doesn't really cover a lot of the neighborhood issues. And so I think we got to take it upon ourselves to cover our neighborhoods ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I really do believe that a lot of posts and a lot of incoming messages and blogs and tweets and a lot of things that's happening in the world, residents don't get that full information because they're always busy with work, with school, with attending children, and then they never have enough time to sit down and catch up with everything that's happening in the world. So I do believe that live streaming can actually put the residents there in the spirit and not really there physically.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
And then it's recorded, and it's it's saved as a record, and so it can really go far. So.
Okay, let's take another quick break and come back as we address social media engagement by the youth. Stay tuned.
These are our future: engineers and electricians,
software designers and doctors,
construction workers and childcare providers.
They will build apps and houses, create menus and video games,
work with cutting-edge technology and kids.
They'll be found in classrooms and courtrooms, construction sites, and computer labs.
They are Baltimore City Public School students. They are career and technology education.
Did you know that students who have a regular diet of nutritious foods are healthier, have more energy, and do better in school? That's why City Schools is increasing its healthy and fresh food options for every meal served during the school day.
I love that they have my favorite vegetables and fruits. By eating healthy, I'm going to get more smart. If you don't be healthy, you're going to get sick.
Students who eat well, do well. So be sure to choose healthy options to keep your body energized and your mind focused and ready to learn.
You're watching Education Channel 77.
Welcome back to Baltimore Pioneers. I'm Xavier Plater here with Gus Sentementes, a former journalist at The Sun and is now actively engaging communities. So Gus, how is it helpful for youth to be engaged in live streaming?
So I think it's really good in a number of areas for personal and professional development. One, it teaches you to think on your feet, right? Okay. You got to be really fast and thinking. You're live. It's not to tape. Two, it teaches you a lot of technical skills, right? How different pieces of the puzzle of cameras and computers and software work together. So it teaches you valuable professional skills. And three, I think it's actually, it may seem like it's ubiquitous now, like it's very common and everybody's doing it, but I was actually just at a major conference last week for social media, and everybody there was talking about live streaming as the future. And I really think it's going to be a growing field, a professional field. There's going to be small businesses, medium-sized businesses, large businesses. They're all going to be going live. Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, they're a lot of their business modeling right now is geared around live streaming. Facebook, they're trying to, there's, everyone's saying that Facebook is going to replace the television, right? And so there's a really great opportunity to do really vital work in our community through bringing events and issues live and engaging people and mobilizing people. There's also a really good professional opportunity too. So if you're savvy enough to turn it into a business, to find employment, these are the changing jobs of the 21st century.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So for people like me that struggles to promote themselves, in the media, how would you go by that?
So that's a great question. So I think what you always want to be doing is trying to figure out what do you offer of value that nobody else can offer, and that may be your unique perspective, that may be your art, your aesthetic sense, like what you think is beautiful or interesting or poetic, and that's something that's very unique. And even though I think what we forget is that even the technology now, everybody can use it, but the ones who will differentiate themselves are the people who have a good artistic mind, they're creative, they're imaginative, they're experts, right? So if you develop an expertise in something, if you are really profound in the art that you create, in the videos that you create, you'll stand out above the crowd, right? Because everybody's sort of playing at this level and everybody's like trying to be famous, but you just got to keep doing you and working on your craft, whatever that craft may be, because your brand is all about oftentimes really just developing an expertise in something, in one thing, maybe two things, and working on that for years, 10 years or more. So.
Yeah, I do believe that.
Yeah.
So the insight, what are some insights that you can give to young adolescents on, how to stick to their goals, stick to their passion, and pursue, anything, even if it's not media, if it's anything in life? Like, what are some,
Yeah, I think, actually, my insight, I got this from my wife, where which was, a couple of years ago, I was like, oh man, I really want to do, live video production. And I was like, I really want to go out and spend thousands and thousands of dollars and buy these cool cameras and buy all this gear, right? And my wife was like, before you go out and spend that money, Gus, why don't you just try doing something with what you currently have? And that's my advice to you and to other youth is like, don't worry about the gear. Find something and just start doing it with what you got. Because if you still have if you have a passion for something, you are willing to do it with whatever tools you can reach within your grasp. If you're waiting for the expensive cameras or the expensive computers to give you the passion to do something, it's never going to come. So, go with what you got and then build from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Sometimes I struggle with trying to find a nice field or a nice passion. I'm passionate about a lot of things, but I struggle finding something that I'm going to push further than to just, make as a trend like all my other hobbies. And I really think that that is a wonderful insight for you. And I hope you guys are listening. Let's take our last break for this episode, and when Baltimore Pioneers returns, Gus and I will discuss future trends in social media engagement and live streaming. We'll be right back.
A lot of exciting things are happening each and every day in Baltimore City Public Schools. Our students are learning, excelling, growing, and achieving as they prepare for college and careers. You can see our students in action and the work they're producing right here on Education Channel 77 and online. If you'd like to watch more stories on the exciting things our students are doing in Baltimore City Public Schools, please visit www.vimeo.com/cityschools.
Welcome back to Baltimore Pioneers. I'm Xavier Plater here with Gus Sentementes, and we are discussing social media live streaming and its effect on engaging communities in Baltimore. So Gus, now that you have covered most of your accomplishments at Johns Hopkins University, what are you going to do now?
So that's a great question. And because I'm in a field that moves so rapidly, so quickly, it's very exciting, but it's also very terrifying. So we are always looking to grow our audiences at the university. I am looking to, on a personal and professional level, get more into live streaming. I'm interested in possibly starting to organize community workshops to help people learn what I know, to sort of share my knowledge with people who want to go out and do this type of thing in their own neighborhoods. You really just need a very minimal investment in some technology, like an iPhone, basically, or an Android phone or any smartphone that can connect to the internet. And then I'm interested in just sort of sharing that knowledge out there and also coaching people on how to possibly make a business out of it. So yeah.
So do you think live streaming will go any further than where it is today?
Yeah, definitely. So you've got Facebook, you've got Instagram, Snapchat. Okay. There's dozens of apps out there that involve that allow people to live stream. Some people are really successful at it. You have some big stars who are already making money, kind of becoming like live streaming stars. It's a really crazy world with lots of possibilities. The question always becomes, I think why is it attractive? And I think a lot of people really like that sense of immediacy of being able to connect with someone, and watch them live. One of my favorite people to actually watch live is Michael Phelps, believe it or not. I think he does a really good job talking to his fans live. I'm not a big sports fan, but who doesn't like Michael Phelps, right? And he's just telling us about, he gets into his day-to-day life and what he does to train and all that. So it's like it enables that personal connection, and I think as humans, we're always looking to connect with each other in our neighborhood, or even with like people who we respect or people who are famous, just to sort of see that personal side.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what are the outcomes with residents who do use live streaming and residents who don't use live streaming?
So that's a good question. I think the big challenge is there is a technology gap in Baltimore, right? And so in working within my own neighborhood, we're always cognizant of, a lot of people are able to get online, get on the internet, watch something on Facebook Live, but then there are a lot of older people who don't have the technology. So we don't want to leave those folks behind. So even as we sort of charge ahead into using this technology, there are a lot of people in Baltimore, for whatever reason, whether it's their own personal finances, we have to figure out ways to just not leave them behind. So whether that means more technology programs that make it affordable for people to get online, I think that's a really important step that we need to continue to move forward on.
Okay. I really do believe that people who are oblivious to live streaming and oblivious to everything that goes on in the media world and and society, I feel like they do become left behind. you know, and a lot of them, they're in this situation where they're so trapped in being oblivious, where they don't want to partake in anything to do with social media or live streaming.
Right.
So I do believe, is there a way that we can still connect the people that don't want to be engaged into live streaming to keep them active and to, you know, well known of what's happening in their world?
I think, yeah. I mean, I think we need to continue to work toward, you know, I really think that, having the ability to get online is really starting to be seen as a human right, because once you get online access to a lot of people, the imagination starts firing, and it's just incredible how I know so many people who maybe who've been out of work, who've gotten fired, who've gotten laid off, but then they've used the internet to get new skills. They've used it to make money, and it's I think it's a really important avenue to transcend your local geography, to connect with a greater world out there, and actually to build a career and to make money. I think we really, as a city, as in Baltimore, we need to, move into the next economy and help people get to that spot where they're able to use, the internet to build a life for themselves in Baltimore.
Okay. In April 2015, there was a lot of riots happening in various places around the city, a lot of live streaming going on, being thrown around in the media. And do you think that live streaming is a gateway to the truth?
Yeah, I think it's a gateway to different perspectives. I think the concept of truth is a lot more slippery, right? So I think even if you're seeing something that's live, it's really helpful to be skeptical, because that's just one perspective of what's happening, at a big event, right? And so I think using, what happened in Baltimore 2 years ago as an example, there's with large mass events, there's kind of like a fog, right? So it's really hard to get a sense of what's happening. So I think it can give you some insight, watching live streams, in that particular type of example. But it's also important to also apply your own filter and to process information from a lot of different sources. So I think as humans, and I make the mistake too, it's like you see one thing that coincides with your own belief system, and that's called confirmation bias. So you see something that's happening, you're like, oh, see, that confirms it. Those people are bad, right? And so it takes some a level of skepticism and maturity to pull back and be like, okay, let's collect more information, and then we can sort of arrive at something that's sort of like collective truth, So I think you definitely want to be careful with not assuming too much just because you're watching something live.
Right. Yeah. And to piggyback off that, I do believe that people who are constantly being told that police brutality, for instance, how police abuse their power. If I'm new to this and I've never seen a police abuse their power, and I've gone on social media and I just watch a video of a police beating up a guy that was,
right,
unarmed, I would believe that police are, always abusing their power and their authority, by just watching one simple video. So I do believe that puts a huge impact and a huge collision on individuals' mindset on, what goes on in the media, period.
Yeah.
So Gotcha, just want to thank you for coming on to the show today and mostly speaking about live streaming and what it can do for the youth, and not just for the youth, for residents in Baltimore. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure.
Most definitely. And I would like to thank you all for watching Baltimore Pioneers, a program where we talk with thinkers and doers in Baltimore. This show is produced by an all-student crew and is brought to you by the Proximity Project and Education Channel 77 of Baltimore City Public Schools. This has been Baltimore Pioneers. I'm Xavier Plater. See you next time.